Today I'm going to talk about a topic that's not often discussed, and I'm going to be talking to you about this based on my experience, from my point of view. So I'm not here to convince you one way or another whether you should do coffee enema or not, but I'm going to tell you about how it helped me and how do I do it. Don't worry, we're not going to go into too much details about it, but I'm going to show you how I prepare. So first of all, why do I do it? I do it because I am taking medication, and after a while I feel like it piles up in my system with the toxins and all, and I feel like my mind is a little bit foggier than usual. I feel a little more tired. I do get joint pains in my ankles. I feel more sluggish and tired, yet I don't sleep so well. So the other thing that I do notice is that my taste changes. Things just don't taste right, and I feel like I burn my mouth. So there are many different signs that shows you that your body is getting more toxic. So that's why I do it, because it provides me relief. How often do I do it? Again, depending on what stage I'm in, how do I feel. I probably don't do it more often than once a week. Exactly how you time it is up to you. What I do is I wait for my first bowel movement. The process will be easier retaining the enema long enough if your bowel is already been emptied a little bit. The preparation will take time. The actual doing the enema will take time, and there's actually some cleanup afterwards as well. So I would suggest to set aside 30 to 45 minutes in your day where you're just going to focus on this. Your body cycles your blood supply continuously, but it takes 3 minutes to filter through your blood. What I like to do is give myself a goal that it's in 3-minute increments. If you are just starting out, maybe you just want to start with maybe 6 minutes, which has 2 cycles, and increase it as you go along, and you can tolerate it better, because that's the hardest part of this, is tolerating it and being able to hold it back, because you will have urges to evacuate. Don't do it longer than 15 minutes because it doesn't really have any benefits beyond 15 minutes. You can use really any coffee that has not been messed with. So organic is good. They suggest that you don't have roasted coffee, but in my opinion, there's no difference. So I'm using roasted coffee. Also, you're gonna need an enema bag or enema bucket or whatever equipment you do have for your enemas. If this is your first time, I would suggest you just get something really cheap. Use common sense. Do your research and follow the instructions with your kit, your enema kit, right? That tells you how far you can go up, and they're really tiny, those tips, and usually they make them really soft these days. One thing I want to just point out that, for example, when you're having a colonoscopy, you're supposed to prepare yourself with an enema, and for some other procedures. Does your doctor ever go in there and look up your colon and see if it's okay to do an enema? They don't. They just tell you, do the enema, right? So if they're not concerned, then I'm not sure why they would be, some people, concerned about using the same process, the exact same process as you would prepare for a surgical procedure or colonoscopy, as I said. I'm gonna include a link down here to a really good article that explains to you how coffee enema works. The caffeine does not absorb through your colon, so you're not gonna have those side effects. I actually had 2 coffees this morning regularly, and then I had my coffee enema, so it really does not add to your caffeine intake. Again, common sense. Don't put anything hot up there, right? And I'll show you how I do it to make sure it's not too hot, not too cold. Cold is unpleasant, and it will give you like cramps, and then it's going to make it harder to retain it. So I would like to just say again, use your best judgment whether this is good for you or not. Again, it's on you. I am not advising you one way or the other. This is just my process. So here we go. Boil a cup of water. 3 tablespoons of coffee. This is regular, nothing special, but organic is preferred. Cook this on low heat for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I pull it off the heat and pour in 3 cups of cold water. And I make sure that this is cool enough to the touch, and it is. I'm going to use a fine mesh strainer to pour over my liquid. You don't want anything to clog your equipment and have issues with loading the liquid. Again, make sure that your liquid is nice and body temperature. Obviously you don't want it hot, you don't want to burn yourself. But if it gets too cold, you can pour it back into the pot and warm it up a little bit more, or even into the microwave. In this case, I could do that, but what I try to do is as soon as I make it, I'm gonna go through the entire process versus making it ahead. Pour it into your enema bag or bucket or whatever you have. Attach your enema line. Make sure it's locked right now. And I like to just hang it up here over the sink. And open up a little bit so the air can be pushed out of the line. And then lock it again. Create yourself a comfortable spot. I do it on the floor in case I have an accident. And also I can hang my bag on the door handle. And I am close to the bathroom, so those are the factors you have to consider when you pick a spot. So what I'm gonna do is lay on my side, on my right side. I'm gonna insert the little tubing. It doesn't go very far, so it's pretty safe, but you have to go far enough so when you open up the lock, the liquid doesn't leak out instead of going inside. It will take about a minute to load 1 quart, and I can tell as the liquid is going down. If it takes more than 1 minute, you might have a clog in there, so you may have to address that and discontinue, and instead of just waiting for it to come out. Once you had the liquid all loaded into your bowl, then you're gonna stay laying down on your right hand side. Now it takes about 3 minutes for your entire blood supply to circulate. So what you want to do is aim for something up to 15 minutes. Once you have reached your goal as far as holding the enema back, then you would be going to the toilet and release all the liquid. You may feel like you're done and you may get a second wind, so you don't want to go too far for the next few minutes. If you get a second wind, then it's going to happen fairly soon. And then of course it comes the cleanup. Just give you a couple of tricks about overcoming the urge to evacuate too early. As you're laying on your right side, it helps if you try to relax your mind, try not to think about anything stressful, try to meditate, and the time will go pretty fast. Now, as I said, every 3 minutes or so, your body will do a new cycle, and that seems to be where you're gonna get your urges from. I can't really tell exactly how often I get the urges, but it seems to correspond. And when you do get those urges, again, just take a deep breath, do a slow exhale. It also helps if you pinch your buttocks, cheeks together. That's kind of just a mental thing, really. Physically, I don't think it does anything, but it just helps you to say to yourself, no, I cannot go yet. Good luck with the process, and I hope it's going to help you. So see you next time.